I don't know if the alcohol and maybe if the wine and me having sex with him, I don't know what it was that killed him.
The police recruits are back, the cadaver dogs, the forensic specialists, they're all here to go through and sift through all of this garbage, trying to find the body of 18-year-old Andrew Compton and any evidence that may be linked to his death.
You put him in the dumpster?
Next to Our Lady of Peace. But I put him in a box, and I had this nice rug in my bedroom. I did everything I could to make it nice, and I even had a coat in the
O'Bryan also told investigators the sex was unprotected and that he is HIV positive.
Welcome to Louisville, Kentucky, a city known for its bourbon, horses, and now, thanks to this case, a chilling crime that left everyone stunned. This is the tale of Andrew Compton, an 18-year-old with dreams bigger than a derby hat and a heart as pure as Kentucky moonshine. Andrew hailed from Carmel, Indiana, a picture-perfect town where the biggest scandal was probably a PTA bake sale gone wrong. He was a freshman at Sullivan University, aspiring to be a culinary wizard. Andrew wasn't just another student. He was the kind of guy who made friends as easily as he could whip up a souffle. But life had a cruel plot twist in store for him. Enter Gregory O'Bryan, a 40-year-old local with a past as shady as a Kentucky forest at midnight. O'Bryan had a history that screamed trouble, substance abuse, run-ins with the law, you name it. And it was on a fateful October night in 2010 that Andrew's path crossed with O'Brien's in the most tragic way possible. Andrew, like many young adults trying to figure out who they are, ventured into the online dating world. The internet, a place where you can meet the love of your life, or in this case, a monster hiding behind a keyboard. Andrew told his parents he was going to a friend's place, but he was actually off to meet O'Bryan, someone he thought might be interesting. Little did he know, this meeting would lead to a horrifying nightmare. When Andrew didn't come back, his parents immediately knew something was wrong. This wasn't like him. They reported him missing faster than you can say Louisville slugger. The cops swung into action, tracing Andrew's digital breadcrumbs straight to O'Brien's doorstep. And that, my friends, is where things took a dark turn. Now, here's where things go from bad to worse. Grab your seat and maybe a stiff drink. On the evening of October 28th, 2010, Andrew met Gregory O'Bryan at his apartment. What started as a consensual encounter turned into something out of a horror movie. According to O'Brien's later confessions that were about as believable as a used car salesman's pitch, Andrew lost consciousness during their interaction. And instead of calling for help, O'Bryan went full panic mode. He didn't just panic, he went completely off the rails. Instead of dialing 911, he decided the best course of action was, wait for it, necrophilia, followed by dismemberment. Yeah, you heard that right. Realizing he was in deep trouble, O'Bryan bought cleaning supplies and garbage bags, classic moves from the How to Look Guilty 101 playbook. Over the next few days, he dismembered Andrew's body and scattered the remains in dumpsters around the city, hoping no one would piece together his gruesome jigsaw puzzle. But like in every bad criminal plan, something always goes wrong. The cops, already suspicious, zeroed in on O'Bryan. With a search warrant in hand, they found Andrew's personal items and blood traces in O'Brien's apartment. When confronted, O'Brien's initial denials crumbled like a house of cards under the weight of mounting evidence. He eventually spilled the gruesome beans, leading to his arrest and a community in shock. So, how do you solve a crime involving dismemberment and dumpsters? Well, you roll up your sleeves and get ready for some good, old-fashioned detective work mixed with modern forensics. The Louisville Metro Police Department kicked off the investigation by tracing Andrew's digital footprints. They followed his online activity and phone records straight to Gregory O'Bryan, the guy who seemed about as trustworthy as a used car with a great deal sign on it. With a search warrant in their hands, investigators descended on O'Brien's apartment like a SWAT team in a bad cop show. Inside, they found Andrew's cell phone and clothes, along with bloodstains that screamed, "Something very bad happened here." This evidence was promptly sent for forensic analysis, which confirmed it was indeed Andrew's blood. O'Bryan, meanwhile, was singing a different tune under police interrogation. Well, more like a chaotic medley of lies and half-truths. Eventually, under the bright lights and mounting pressure, he confessed. And what a confession it was, detailing necrophilia, dismemberment, and a disposal plan that was both horrifying and utterly stupid. Key evidence included not just the blood, but also the garbage bags and cleaning supplies, making it clear that O'Brien's apartment wasn't just a crime scene, but a failed cleanup operation.
I don't know if the alcohol and maybe if the wine and me having sex with him, I don't know what it was that killed him. Well, I was so drunk that I just passed out, and I can remember I took him in the bedroom and laid his body next to me and just started crying and telling him how much I loved him. And then when I woke up, I took his body and I had like an old television box or something that I put it in, and then I had like this nice rug that I put over the top of it. Then there was also some stuff in my trunk that, yeah.
By Bellarmine?
By Bellarmine, yeah. And I just put, I don't know how I carried his body over there, but I put his body in the trunk and took him over there and put him in there.
Did you put him in the dumpster?
Mm-hmm.
Witnesses and digital traces further sealed O'Brien's fate, showing he was the last person to see Andrew alive. And so, with a solid case built on forensic science, confessions, and sheer investigative persistence,
well, I tried to bring him back to life. And I started crying, and I was like, please, come back to life.
Right now at 6, graphic details surface about the murder of a Sullivan University student. Andrew Compton disappeared in late October. Gregory O'Bryan told police he picked up the 18-year-old. They say they went back to his apartment and had sex.
It was like kind of a strange position or something on that couch, and he was so small. And I looked up and he was dead.
More than a week later, police and cadaver dogs converged on O'Brien's apartment, reportedly detecting blood. In police interviews, he confessed to dumping Compton's body in the trash. A search of a landfill in Medora, Indiana, turned up empty, leaving Compton's grieving family with little closure.
Nothing you can put into words. It's been unbearable. It's something I would never wish upon anybody else.
Good evening to you. I'm Rick Van Hoos. The videotaped confession that you just saw Gregory O'Bryan gave to police was released earlier today. WLKY Steve Bergen has been reviewing the hours of tape, and he joins us live from the newsroom with more on this. Steve?
Rick O'Bryan talks about what happened the night 18-year-old Andrew Compton died inside his apartment.
Commonwealth versus Gregory Michael O'Bryan.
A bearded Gregory O'Bryan entered the courtroom for a pretrial hearing earlier today. This is the way he looked when he was questioned by Metro detectives last October.
He was like one of the sweetest, most innocent, cutest guys I've ever been with, and we were so similar.
O'Bryan told investigators he gave Compton alcohol and drugs, and the two became drunk. He says he tied Compton's hands behind his back with telephone wire, then had sex with him on the couch of his apartment on Lucia Avenue.
It was like kind of a strange position or something on that couch, and he was so small. And I looked up and he was dead.
O'Bryan told detectives for a time he thought Compton was in a coma, but then realized his neck was broken.
Well, I was so drunk that I just passed out, and I can remember I took him in the bedroom and laid his body next to me and just started crying and telling him how much I loved him and slept there all night.
Hours later, he folded the body and placed it in a box.
I had like this nice rug that I put over the top of it, and Then there was also some stuff in my trunk that I put around, and there was like an old scarf and stuff like this, and all his clothes and stuff. And I took him to the dumpster.
O'Bryan contradicted himself during the interview. While he placed the body in one dumpster, he threw Compton's belongings into another. A 10-day search of a landfill turned up no sign of Compton's body.
I didn't want to get in trouble, and I know that he wouldn't have wanted me to get in trouble. So that's what I did. And I figured that they would dispose of his body and that I could hide this for the rest of my life.
O'Bryan is facing the death penalty, but not having a body poses a challenge for prosecutors.
It is a unique circumstance. Not unique, but it is unusual.
But you still think you can be successful in prosecuting a capital case without a body?
We'll do our best to do that, yeah.
O'Bryan also told investigators the sex was unprotected and that he is HIV positive. Live in the newsroom, Steve Bergen, WLKY News.
The cops handed over the file to the prosecutors, ready to take O'Bryan to trial. Grab your popcorn, folks, because the courtroom drama in Gregory O'Bryan's trial was something straight out of a legal thriller. The prosecution came in hot, armed with forensic evidence, a chilling confession, and a narrative that painted O'Bryan as a monster with zero remorse. They laid out the gruesome details showing how O'Bryan had every chance to call for help, but instead chose a path of unspeakable actions. Forensic experts testified about the blood evidence, making it crystal clear that the traces found in O'Bryan's apartment matched Andrew's DNA. This wasn't just a slam dunk, it was an alley-oop of prosecutorial precision. The defense, meanwhile, had their work cut out for them. They tried to spin a tale of accidental death and panic, portraying O'Bryan as a man who made a terrible mistake in a moment of fear. They questioned the confession's validity, suggesting it was coerced. Nice try, but the jury wasn't buying it. It wasn't. Emotional testimonies from Andrew's family brought the courtroom to tears, reminding everyone of the human cost behind the legal battle. The most damning moment, though, was O'Bryan's own confession played out loud. Hearing him describe the events was like listening to a horror audiobook narrated by the villain. Expert witnesses delved into O'Bryan's psyche, painting a picture of a deeply troubled individual with a history of dangerous behavior. This wasn't a one-off. This was a ticking time bomb that finally exploded in the worst possible way. After weeks of intense testimony and cross-examinations, the jury delivered a verdict: guilty on all counts. Gregory O'Bryan was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, a decision that brought a sense of closure to Andrew's grieving family and a community that had been holding its breath. The aftermath of Andrew Compton's case was like a stone thrown into a pond. The ripples spread far and wide. For Andrew's family, the trial's conclusion offered justice, but not complete closure. They turned their grief into advocacy, championing online safety and awareness to prevent other families from enduring such a nightmare. Back in Carmel, Indiana, Andrew was remembered through memorials and scholarship funds, ensuring his legacy helped others pursue their dreams. Louisville, meanwhile, took a hard look at its online safety protocols, with schools and community groups ramping up efforts to educate young people about the dangers of meeting strangers online. Rest in peace, Andrew Compton.